You can't actually say that or overreact too much because he'll never tell you anything again if you do. Women, what do you find the most confusing about men? So many men I know give off just a really chill vibe and they all seem to be cool with each other. How do they do it? Somebody replied, my co-worker and I were each until we discovered we both like Fear Factory. Then Fear Factory Fridays became a thing and we now go to concerts together and are each other's support person. We share each other's excitement for hobbies even though they're not our own, all while making fun of each other on the job site. One shared thing between two men can lead to an awesome friendship. Why don't some men go to the doctor or dentist, unless someone else makes the appointment for them? You know that meme where a woman is thinking he's probably thinking about other women, and in actuality the guy is thinking the most random of things. That is very accurate. Friendship between men. Do you guys find that you have a group of friends in your teens or college years and then it's like, that's it, enough socializing for the rest of our life, and you actually manage to maintain those friendships? How do you do this? I admit I'm a bit jealous. But then again, so often dudes admit to me that they can't open up with their male friends, hide their feelings and problems, and keep conversations shallow, which I think is kind of sad. Maybe that's the secret why those friendships last. But it adds to the confusing part, because I question a friendship's worth if it doesn't provide a safe space between the individuals. Somebody replied, friends to us are people with whom we spend time. Usually to have fun, to make memories, and to not have to do things alone. It doesn't have to be deep or personal. It just has to be someone with whom we share common interests, so we don't have to be alone when we do things. That's precisely why the meme one of the squad got a girlfriend and he's never around us now exists. There is a great movie clip I saw once by comedian Billy Crystal in which he said the biggest reason he loves baseball is because he could actually talk to his dad through baseball, and through creative wording, could talk about feelings. He could talk about emotions using other players in a roundabout way. I remember for me in college, I had an inner circle of friends. 5 or 6 maybe. They actually represented the different facets of my personality. My emotional friend, my bro friend, my toxic friend, my friend who sleeps with anyone friend, etc. Each one was a different side of my personality and reflected what I was feeling at any particular moment. Why does pooping take so long? Somebody replied, poop time is sacred and while pooping you have absolutely no obligations to anything past that bathroom door. When my boyfriend is quiet for too long and I ask him what he's thinking about, and he says simply, nothing, and shrugs. This happens at least twice a month. What is he thinking about when he says nothing? I've learned a lot being married to my husband, but there's one thing I fail to understand in general. Why do you guys like to stare out the window so often? It's usually just going up to a window or looking out the front door, and you fall into a trance. What's up with that? When men are seriously injured but act like it's just a scratch, as if they can somehow walk it off, all the men I know are like this. Somebody replied, I'm a man and this reminds MW of something I did. I was in the backyard putting in fence posts and somehow got my finger in between the post and the hammer. Flattened it like a pancake. Pain was absolutely searing but my wife was in the backyard pushing my 5 and 2-year-old on their swing set. I didn't want them to freak out so I just bit my lip, casually walked up to my wife and told her I was going to be inside for a while tending to it. At which point she panicked so I guess it didn't matter anyway. I was recently watching a group of guys as they entered into a room and after a short time started interacting with stuff in the room. Touching things, picking things up, moving things around, etc. And it's especially pronounced if there's some kind of small, light object that can be tossed around like a stress ball, which quickly becomes a game. I remembered thinking that a group of women would probably not be messing around this much. You can be completely oblivious to any mess in the house but can spot a wall that has been brush painted in the wrong direction from 20 feet away. I find it confusing how men are so forgiving. It's one of the things I adore the most about men and find the most baffling. I'm learning now that men will get over things like 40 minutes after they happen and genuinely get frustrated and sad when their girls hold grudges. I've found that the people I've had falling outs with and was able to rekindle my friendships with were mostly all men. I also find it weird how men will fight each other and then be best friends the next day. Somebody replied, you get angry in the moment, but then after you're removed from the situation you have to let yourself cool off. Once you're thinking clearly, you'll realize it wasn't that big a deal and get over it. Usually the start of a fight isn't that big. It's the stuff that comes after that escalates it, so you just recognize that both of you are just human and do and say dumb things when your blood is up. Also, I think women tend to plan more and then act, and men will just act and plan on the fly, so that leads to women believing slights or mess-ups are more intentional, whereas men will just think of them as mistakes and forgive them. This exchange between two of my friends sums it up. So friend A wanted to go chat with friend C, but friend B said no, remember he did blank. And friend A responded with yes, but that was yesterday, and then they were both very confused by each other's way of thinking. How do I know if they are interested in me? How do I make it known to them that I am interested in them? I'm way too shy to confess face to face, and yet I also find confessing through a text to be insincere. Oh, you can say looking good today, and I'll wonder the rest of my life if you were flirting or just being nice. I personally remember every time I've been complimented and I hold them dear to my heart. We are not going to the doctor, but the limb has fallen off. Somebody replied, my granddad literally had that happen to him. He wasn't very well and was on blood thinners. He was known for rarely leaving his armchair, but my grandma started to get suspicious when he wouldn't leave his chair at all for a whole week. He was being weird about his leg and wouldn't let her look at it. So she had enough one day and just looked anyway despite him being difficult. His leg from the knee down was black. He had to go to the hospital and it was amputated. I'm a man. But something that confused my wife is when I suddenly take a deep breath for no reason. She's like, are you okay? You sure? Anything you need to talk about? What's going on? I just say no, I'm fine. Think I just forgot to breathe and catching up. Why do guys just sit in silence sometimes? I thought for a long time my boyfriend was sick of me, but he was just sitting there with his brain off. Somebody replied, this bothered my ex a lot, and I have to admit, it bothered me that it bothered her. Sometimes there isn't anything to say and it's totally cool just hanging out together and enjoying that in itself. Or it can also be, as you said, just to switch off the brain. As a disclaimer, I'll admit that I'm very introverted anyways, but even within my male friend groups sometimes we just don't talk for a bit and it's still a good memory. Once upon a time, my girlfriend sent me into a gas station to get her a can of Mountain Dew. So I go in and search all over the place, but they don't have single cans of Mountain Dew, only bottles. But then I see it. A 12-pack of can Mountain Dew. Now, in my guy brain, she said can, so I was not coming out of that store with a bottle. When I go back to the car with a 12-pack, she asked why I got 12 cans of Mountain Dew. I explained my logic, and she started laughing uncontrollably. She brings this up all the time with other women when explaining how guys think differently. How does their crotch not hurt when they run or go up the stairs? Like, even with underwear, you just have stuff hanging down there. I don't even have a large chest and it hurts to run regardless if I'm wearing a bra or not. How are most of your fights with friends like? Punch each other and then you're good. Like how? Somebody replied, well, if the message got across, what's the point of hurting each other more? Rules seem to make you happy. My boyfriend plays a lot of tabletop RPGs and Battletech, and he said before that he's not enjoying a game because I quote, there aren't enough rules, it's all a bit confusing. Also follows for task CA, can you microwave X for me? No, that's confusing. Microwave X for 1 minute 30 seconds exactly. He's a happy man. When they behave as the smartest man in the world and then 5 minutes later as the village idiot. Especially my father. Calculates the amount of days I was alive to within 2 days while walking through Costco. He later drank laundry detergent thinking it was water. My wife's biggest gripe is that I will spend time hiking, drinking, driving or whatever with friends I haven't seen in months, and when I get home I will have absolutely nothing to report back despite having talked solidly with them for 6 hours. My wife, on the other hand, Will casually pass a friend in the street and within 10 minutes knows what they've done every day since they last spoke, the health and financial status of them and all other friends and relatives, and a forward-facing calendar for the next 3 months. Somebody replied, "It's funny though. All the weird stuff we talk about as guys slowly leaks a bunch of personal information over time. You can tell that one guy isn't happy with his relationship, one guy is broke, one guy hates his job, one guy has a medical issue. You know all of this without really talking about it just because you spend quality time with them. Yet even we can't recount it directly, we just know it in the moment when we are with the boys. How are they able to have so much fun with their friends all the time? They make digging a hole in the beach with their friends look like the most fun thing in the world. I really admire that." When a guy slips something very heartbreaking into a conversation, like something an extremely abusive parent did or whatever, and he's talking about it very casually, and you're like, "My dude, are you alright?" But you can't actually say that or overreact too much because he'll never tell you anything again if you do, so you have to sit there and be like, "Ah, yes, that sucks, dude," but inside you're like, "Sir, may I hug you please?" Women, did you get the answers you were looking for? Men, did you gain a new perspective? Either way, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Consider subscribing for future daily videos.